What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Under 10 Hours. Today I have something a little bit different for you. This is a review of the Retroid Pocket. Now, if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you probably know that I love retro gaming. Like, I grew up with an N64, you probably knew that if you've been watching the channel for a while. I played PS1 at friends' houses, played a lot of Super Nintendo, Genesis, everything like that. But I've always wanted a really good way to take these games on the go with me because I don't always have my collection or all my systems plugged in at the same time. And I think this Retroid right here is going to be the answer for me and a lot of other people. Now, before I get started, I want to do a little bit of background on what I've done in the emulation space. I've done some things like put emulators on my phone, but the lack of buttons really doesn't appeal to me. I really like having the buttons and the tactile feedback so I'm not covering the screen with my thumbs. So for a while I thought that my PS Vita, which I have right here, was going to be like my main emulation device. I hacked this thing to get video out because for whatever reason Sony decided no video out for the Vita, even though it was on the PSP. And so I spent hours hacking this thing to get video out, so I decided after that, might as well put a bunch of emulators on this, see what I can do. Now, for the most part, it's been pretty freaking awesome. You got pretty much full PS1 emulation, PSP emulation, you got all the old stuff, NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Mega Drive, everything like that. I know, Genesis and Mega Drive are the same thing, but I kept running into some issues. I really wanted a way to play N64 games on the go, and while the development scene for the Vita is kind of blooming in that sense, it doesn't work that great now. It really struggles with N64 at the time of recording this video. When I hacked this, it basically didn't exist at all. It's coming slowly but surely, and while I would love to recommend this, I don't have proof or a guarantee that development continues and gets N64 running on this thing. On top of that, this is a trigger case. The Vita only has one shoulder button on each side. These are touchpads for the back touchpad screen. So like when I press these in, it's just touching the back screen, which is not an ideal thing. On top of that, it's really uncomfortable if I don't have this to actually do L2 and R2 inputs. So again, that's where the Retroid comes in. This thing I've had for about a week. It has been a revelation. This is a device that runs Android, so you've got all the Android emulators at your disposal. It comes with a ton of them built in. And this thing might be the end-all be-all for me for a while of emulating old consoles on the go. Now, everything I've thrown at this, outside of one particular game in particular, everything works. Everything works extraordinarily well, and I'm going to show you how all of that works. I can actually plug this in because it's got video out into my capture card and get direct feed footage to show you how this looks. So let's open the box. Now, you might notice this thing has been crushed. That's not a Retroid problem, that is my mail carrier problem. He has crushed multiple things these last few months. No idea why. Maybe we did something that made him angry, but just because I got this in does not mean you will get this. And on top of that, if something was wrong once this arrived, the amazing thing about the Retroid is that it has an actual customer service team because it's a Retroid brand product as opposed to all the other drop-shipped emulator boxes that come from AliExpress. So inside the box, you've got your like little instruction manual that tells you the specs, the 640 by 480p screen, which I will get to in a bit. It comes with a screen protector, which I've already installed because I wanted to keep this thing safe. It's a tempered glass screen protector, which I really like, especially because this thing doesn't have a touch screen. It just keeps it really nice and safe. And it came with a USB charging cable because USB-C, which is really nice. I'm glad these things are getting with the times and getting USB-C support. Now, what's cool is you've got the HDMI out port right here, and because I pre-ordered it, I got included a mini HDMI to normal HDI output, so I didn't have to buy that separately. And I also got a USB-A to USB-C adapter that's branded in Retroid, which I think is really cool. But basically, because this runs Android and you've got HDMI out, you can just Bluetooth controllers to this and play multiplayer games with your friends. So like Mario Kart 64, Tony Hawk, you just gotta supply a Bluetooth controller, pair it to this thing, and you're good to go. Like, that's mind-blowing. That's like game-changing for me. I know, I'm sure a lot of other devices can do that, like even like an Android tablet can do that, but this thing, the fact that it has buttons and I have the option to plug it into my TV, this thing is basically like designed specifically for me. What I also like is dual shoulder buttons. They got these really clicky and responsive buttons, pretty clicky controls on the front as well. Everything feels really solid, like this thing's got a lot of heft to it, and I'm really happy with the build quality. I was a little bit worried about the screen size because I've only seen it in pictures. Now, I can tell you the screen size, but let's compare it to the Vita. It's a lot smaller. However, most of the games you're going to be playing on the Retroid are retro systems anyway. You can play PSP on here, which the Vita really makes good use of the full screen for that. But most of the games on the Retroid are 4:3 aspect ratio. So this, again, 640 by 480 screen, finally got that off the tongue, looks beautiful. All of the pixels, everything I've looked at it looks great. I've been really happy with it. I played some Crazy Taxi 2 for Dreamcast on here. It has been beautiful to look at. I love the buttons. I like the analog stick, although some people have pointed out that because this is a Joy-Con style analog stick, it doesn't click in, but it's the same style. There might be an issue of drift down the line. I haven't experienced it yet. However, there have been people on the subreddit for Retroid, the /Retroid subreddit, that theirs started drifting within a day. But again, they can get that sorted out because, again, Retroid has customer service. On top of that, this is weirdly enough a sliding joystick like the PSP. And when you're trying to play a game with a tilting joystick and a sliding joystick, you kind of have to get into your head and like program yourself to remember not to try to like tilt this and bend it. It's not that big of a deal. I haven't run into many games where I've actually had to use it, because I've been playing a lot of N64 and Dreamcast, which both only had single analog stick setups anyway on their controllers. So to me, it hasn't been a big deal, but if you're trying to play, I don't know, games that require a lot of camera control, it might be a little bit funky to use both at the same time. But basically what we'll do when we get into this is I'm going to show you my one real qualm about this system that kind of affects what kind of demographic this can fit into. I'm a really big fan of this console. However, there are some things about it that kind of set it outside of the casual buyer, if that makes any sense. In a lot of ways, this is the easiest plug-and-play device that you can get that you can do this kind of stuff with and this emulation with. However, it's still an emulator box that runs Android without a touchscreen, so you're going to have to put up with some elbow grease and love to get the maximum usage out of this, especially on systems like the Dreamcast, the N64. And because this is an Android device without a touchscreen, you have to deal with mouse mode, which I will show better in detail when we switch to gameplay. But basically, what you do is you can't touch the screen, but you have, like, this is the Android home screen. You've got the app drawer right here, and I've got all my emulators lined up at the bottom. You can always go through and select which you want, but if you're in an emulator and you want to switch a game, you don't have the option of touching the screen to like open up the emulator menu. You have to go into mouse mode, which involves holding the home button for a second. And moving the mouse like so to get to the selection you want, which is a little bit funky and fiddly, because you basically have to changed the... It's hard to describe until you see it in action, but basically you have to kind of think differently about how this thing works in terms of navigating the screens and menus and things like that. But of course I'll show that once we get to the gameplay, but without any further ado, let's get into that now. So now that we've plugged the Retroid into the HDMI adapter to my Elgato game capture, we can see the direct feed of the screen. So everything I'm looking at, you can see right here. So what we're going to do in this video is show you a little bit more of the more advanced emulation systems. I don't feel like it's really necessary to show Genesis and Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance, because frankly this thing is amazing for all that. I'm going to show you the more interesting things like the DS emulation and the N64 emulation, maybe even a little bit of PSP and Dreamcast. But let's go into the N64 first. So we're going to open this up. And this is where all of my ROMs are stored. I've already owned all of these games, so these are just backups of my own ROMs. What's really nice is when you load all your ROMs in, this Mupen Plus already has or downloads all of the cover art, so everything is really nice to look at and easy to find. So let's open up a game like Diddy Kong Racing, okay? And this is where some of the elbow grease comes in. I have gone in and pretty much every time I play a game for the first time, I have to choose the emulation profile. So we have to go to settings, again, for each individual game. We have to go down to the emulation profile right here. Now, based off of Taki Udon's community Google Doc, a lot of people have already put in what has worked and what doesn't when it comes to each individual game's profile. Using what they have told me, Glide N64 Fast with configuration, this setup is the best one for Diddy Kong Racing. So using that, we're going to see how this works. So let's restart the game, and this is going to load up right now. Okay, then you see it takes a little bit of a time to get going, but once it's going, it looks really good. Okay, and again you can see the volume. I hope you can hear the sound. Turn up the sound a little bit. Yeah, I've got it. So basically, all of this is playing. I mean, look how fast this plays. Like, it's full speed. So we're gonna go to start, and I'll do just like a quick race to show you. But yeah, this looks fantastic. God, I grew up on Diddy Kong Racing, so this is amazing to have. I know I can technically play it on the DS, but like this is so cool. Ooh. Alright, we'll race around the island. That'll be a good test. Alright, get that speed boost. So there is a little bit of chug every now and then, however, oops, I've taken the wrong route. That's great. Trying so hard to focus on actually talking about the video that I missed. But yeah, look how well this runs. It's almost full speed. You can turn on the frame rate indicator, but I'm less worried about frame rates and more about how it actually runs when I'm looking at it, because frankly, if you tell me that the frame rate's good, but it doesn't feel right, I'm more of a hands-on person when it comes to that. Obviously, those things kind of go hand in hand, but I can't tell the difference between 27 frames and 30 frames as long as it's running correctly. As you can see, this is running really well. Alright, and we'll finish up after this lap. But here is where the things get weird. Remember mouse mode I was talking about? If you want to leave Diddy Kong Racing, what you have to do is you have to hold the home button for a second, bring up the mouse. You see it right here, it's floating around on the screen. To bring up the menu, you then have to press B and then go to exit. And then move over to OK. It's not that big of a deal, but it is a little bit strange and unpolished. And while I don't mind it that much, somebody who's picking this up to like casually play their old N64 games, they may not enjoy that. Now, this is the game that I was really excited to play. It's been really hard for me to like go back and play Conker's Bad Fur Day because I just don't have the time anymore to just play it for fun. And I was really hoping that I could get this going on the Retroid because of the N64 emulation, but I cannot get Conker running to save my life. And I've tried all the emulation profiles and I cannot get any of them working. And I'll show you what I think was the best one. According to the Emulation Profile doc, which I will put on the description, Rice Fast is supposed to be the best one, and I cannot get it running at a consistent enough speed to really like this, which is really disappointing. But you'll see why in just a bit. The audio is really messed up and crackly. The frame rate is very low. It plays smoothly, but also not fast, which is the problem. And with a game like this, like a platformer, you really have to play this at full speed, or else you're just going to be having a really rough time. And again, it looks a little bit funky because the image is blown up for YouTube and in editing, but when you're looking at the screen itself, it looks really crisp. But here's where the issue lies. It's not running at a very high frame rate, and it's just not... Let me crank up the volume. It's really crackly, and it doesn't sound right. And because of that, honestly, I can't even get through the opening cutscene, to be honest. It's just not something I really want to play on here. And just, you can see right here just how slow it is. With the raindrops and the sign swinging, you can tell it's not playing at full speed, unfortunately. So we're not going to linger on this too long. I just wanted to show you that Conker's Bad Fur Day really struggles on here. So let's go back to our home screen. So outside of Conker's, I've really not had a single problem with anything else I've played on here. Let's go. Let's exit. Yeah, I've played a bunch of different N64 games on here, and I'm absolutely blown away by what the system can do, because I have tried to emulate N64 games for a long time, and I cannot get anything consistently running well on anything until this point. Mario Tennis also has some kind of funkiness to it. I think that's more of a me thing. I need to figure out that one. But everything else, like I've played Cruisin' USA, Diddy Kong Racing, like I showed you, WWF No Mercy, Donkey Kong 64. It's been great. Majora's Mask, full speed, no problems there. It's fantastic. I like smiled so wide when I found out Majora's Mask runs full speed on here. I am so excited about that. But yeah, like I said, again, I have Mario Party and Mario Kart on here because, again, you can Bluetooth controllers to it and just do split screen. It's awesome. So let's look at Dreamcast. Alright, let's go to Flycast. And so here we go again. We got to bring up mouse mode to select the game. And we have to choose like this. And here is Dreamcast. This has been amazing. I have not tweaked any Dreamcast settings, and it runs pretty well most of the time. There are a few hiccups, but I feel like if I just spent more time with this, I could iron them out. I've seen plenty of videos on YouTube showing just how good this goes. I accidentally downloaded the wrong ROM, but that's why it's like that. But yeah, let's look at this really quick. Alright. All the lovely people who made this. Just do normal rules. We're not going to do a whole game. Do Iceman, because I like his car. Alright, here we go. Oop, wrong button. Alright. So again, I haven't even tried to tweak any of this, but this thing runs really well. I know the frame rate kind of jumps all over the place, but if it's not on, it's not that noticeable how it jumps so much. But I mean, this is like more than playable. Like this is fantastic. Literally, I put this in expecting this to run terribly without any tweaks, but I ended up playing for like half an hour because it just runs so smoothly. And again, I could probably get it running even better if I just spent the time. Yeah, a little burnout that always throws me off. I've never gotten one of these. Oh, it's 4 people. Okay. I really like Crazy Taxi, so I'm just gonna probably gonna forget I'm recording a video and just keep playing. Get out of my way. But see, every now and then there's a little bit of a frame rate drop. To me, it's not that bad. I probably, again, just need to spend some time with this thing and get it going, but I've been more than happy with it. I can't believe I've got a Dreamcast emulator in my pocket at all times now. All right. But anyway, I'm not gonna keep you waiting. So what's interesting is because you've got all the different emulators, you've got to remember that every single emulator has different button prompts to do different things. Like on the N64 Mupen emulator, you have to turn on mouse mode to get back to the menu. With this case, you just press ZL, and you can just exit. Like so. So again, all of my Dreamcast games, I've only got one on there. I haven't really fooled around with it. So now that we've looked at the Dreamcast, we can look at something equally as impressive, which is the amazing Drastic Emulator that I downloaded from the Play Store. It's $5, but when I tell you it's worth it to play your DS games. So I have mine set up that even though this is a single screen, I can do something really cool. Let me show you though. Let's go into something weird. Let's do Tony Hawk. There it is. Start. So the way I've set this up is I've set up the screen so that when I am playing the game, I can see both the big screen and the smaller screen. So as you can see on the right side of the screen, let me show you with the mouse. Right over here is the lower screen, and right now it's not in use. But if I need to, I can just swap in between. So now I'm reading the text on the screen. So let's see this in action, shall we? So now Mindy's talking. Before you've shown me your skate skills, I've got to show you around the town. Let me give you a map of Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. And now we can see all the places she's telling me to go. So now we can go on the arrow. Let's do some kick flips. Now we've got to see this. But now we can see she's talking again, found the theater. And then you can always look at the map. The placement for the screen I can always change, so if it's getting in the way of the text like it was before, what I can do is I can just open up the menu, go to menu, then what I can do is I can edit the screen in virtual pad, so watch this. I can go in with the mouse and choose to move this so it's out of the way. So if I put it there, or I need to resize it, like it's a little bit small for me, like so, then I can set it so that I can save this screen layout for this game. So now if we go back, it's not in the way anymore. Let's see, we're paused. Oop, gotta turn off mouse mode. See, that's what I'm talking about. We can go see what we gotta do, and then we can pick up where we left off, and we've got our mouse at the bottom right corner. And we can play like this. So then again, we go back. And I found this is a really good workaround. Games that really require the touch screen really kind of struggle with this because you really don't want to play with mouse mode. It's not that great of a deal, to be quite honest. I wish I could just hit this arrow. There we go. But yeah, this is DS emulation. Again, I haven't even touched this, and it's running pretty well. Again, so yeah. But yeah, let's look at another game. So let's go change the game. Let's go to Pokemon Heart Gold. And see, for this game, I've put the other screen in the top right corner. So that way, when the game is going, I can see all my moves and stuff. I think the emulation on here looks pretty good. Of course, the DS looks how it does, you know how it is. But so far, I've really enjoyed playing it. And again, if we want to switch to the screen, we just press the right trigger, and then we can play. We can go walk around our town, talk to people. Then if we need to access the menu, we can just do this. And in this case, we can use mouse mode. Like I said, it's not exactly a perfect workaround, but we can do that. But yeah, that's DS emulation. I'm really impressed. What do you think you're doing? Anyway, so that's DS. So now that we looked at the DS, we can go and look at other game systems. The PSP, I'm going to be honest, runs a little bit slow. That could be me not setting up things super correctly, because again, I haven't really spent that much time editing things outside of the N64. However, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 didn't run super well. It was running pretty slowly, which I guess I can show you really quick. But it certainly wasn't ideal. The problem is with this game, once you get past the menu, it doesn't work incredibly well, which is really disappointing because I love SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. I really wanted to have this on the go. I've already got it on PSP, obviously, but I would really like this to be an all-in-one thing, and the fact that I can't do that, it's a little bit of a bummer. Kind of sucks. But let's show you, like, it can't even do a singles match. So let's... And... Okay, let's see what happens. Shirtless Kane, always a treat. So look how slow this runs. It's running incredibly slowly. See, I'm not even going to subject you to this for very long, because this is not, to me, this is not playable. And I'm sure for a lot of people, it is not playable either, so I'm just going to jump out of that. But now that we looked at PSP, which didn't run super well, I've kind of gone over a brief little explanation of how all the systems run on it. I haven't really been able to get PS1 going on here as much as I would like to, because most of my games are e-boots, which run on the Vita under PSP games. So basically that kind of messes with the compatibility on the Retroid, unfortunately. However, there are plenty of videos, like I said, Taki Udon. I'll link all of his videos in the descriptions below if you want to have a certain system that you want to really look into. But I have been, like I said, massively impressed by the fact that N64 DS runs well, Dreamcast runs well. Just really happy with this product. So that's more or less a look at the Retroid Pocket 2. I have been blown away by this thing, and I cannot wait to see, after more tweaks, what this thing is really capable of. In the next few weeks, apparently in October, there's a new Android system update, which is going to add a lot more compatibility with all of the existing Android apps. Like, I'm going to be able to download Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on here, like the mobile version from the App Store, and get that running, and Vice City and Bully. That's going to be really cool, because that opens up so many more games that exist on this platform that didn't already. So like, you're going to be running PS2 caliber games, granted through mobile ports, on here, and that is fantastic. That's really exciting, especially because the more compatibility this gets, the more powerful this thing becomes. I have had a few issues side loading apps onto it. Some things won't work, some won't work at all. Some things I can get downloading, but they don't totally work. I would imagine that's a compatibility thing with the fact that this thing runs Android 6. 8.1 is supposed to be coming soon. Hopefully that actually comes through, because that would be a bummer if it doesn't. But I'm really looking forward to spending more time with this thing, and I'm really happy with this product. I'm really happy I have it. Just the fact that I've been able to play all my N64 games anywhere I go has been outstanding. I love it. But that's pretty much all I have for you on this video. If you have your own Retroid and you've enjoyed it so far, let me know what you think about yours. What have you enjoyed playing on it? Are you looking at getting one of these? What has you on the fence? What about it appeals to you? What are you looking forward to playing on here if you end up getting one? Are you looking at... These things are coming out in like the fantastic N64 colors, and I kind of wish I would have waited on the jungle green or the ice blue one, because this thing would look pretty sick in translucent coloring. But yeah, if you want more videos, maybe not like this. This is a lot more laid back, less produced video. You can always subscribe for more content. And lastly, if you like the video, be sure to leave a like on it. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a really long video, so I appreciate you making it this far. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.